You might be wondering, what's in this box? So, finally, I finally got coilovers for the S2000. These are Öhlins, and they're supposed to be some of the best. So, we're gonna take the next day, probably more than a day, to install these, and then we're gonna lower the car and adjust everything, make sure everything's right. The boxes are very heavy. We're going to take them out, assemble them, and then put them on the car. So we have a very big day and a half ahead of us. So I think we should just get started now. Alright, so I already finished two. This one is the front and then this one's the rear. The front ones are longer than the rears. So this is what they look like assembled, basically. And then there's the other one. So I pre-assembled these so I can figure out how to do it before I show you guys. So now we're going to do this one and that one, so I can show you guys how to assemble these. Okay, so we're gonna start with the rear. This is the rear coilover. First things first, you're gonna need to get a 14 wrench, and you're gonna have to undo this top piece right here. This is the dampening adjuster. So yes, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna get the smaller spacer. The Öhlins come with two spacers, different size spacers. There's those, there's these, and then there's also these. So you can see the difference in size. These go for the rear, these are for the front. So you're gonna put that spacer on. Oh, actually no, you're not doing that first. What you're doing is that you're getting one of your dust boots and you're gonna put it on the rears. Now, since the rears are shorter than the fronts, if you bought your Öhlins brand new, or yours come with new dust boots, what you're gonna want to do is that you're gonna cut these down because they're too long. As you can see here, I already started cutting. You want to cut about from the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4 ridges from the bottom, including this bottom one. So after this ridge, you're gonna want to cut on the peak of this next one up. So what I mean by that is that you can see how they kind of are shaped like an accordion, where there's a peak and then there's a valley and there's another peak. At the peak, you're gonna want to cut again. So I already pre-cut what I was supposed to. So now I'm just gonna cut a little more up to this peak, like so. Alright, so now it's cut up to the peak. Now I'm gonna go around. Alright, so this is as much as I cut off. This is what you should be left with. Now you can see, like I said, I cut up to a peak here, so it's open. Now you can fit the dust boot over and just have it rest like that. Now that you have the dust boot on, now you take your spacer. Take the spacer, put it up. Then you take the top hat and get it ready. Set this aside for now. And you're gonna notice that on your springs, if you're using the springs that the Öhlins come with, there are two different specs on these springs. You'll see numbers on the springs. You wanna figure out which one goes to which coilover. Now on the back, you'll see a diagram of your coilover, and on the top here, you'll see the markings with the spec size, the spec of your spring. So for the rears, we're going to be using the dash 23s. You look at your springs. This was 31. This one says 23. Let me show you what I mean. Right there, you see the 23, and then there's a slash. This is the one you're going to be using for your rears. Now you put the spring over the coilover. You put your top hat on, and you're almost done. So now that you have your coilover all in place with the top hat, you're gonna take your second spacer, which is gonna be this one. It's gonna be a ridge on it here, and you're gonna place it face down, and then you're just gonna wiggle it till it drops in, like that. Now you have the second spacer in, and you're almost done. All you have to do now is take one of the provided lock nuts and screw it in. This is a 17 in, and go. Alright, that's done. Now what you can do is you can take your dampening knob adjuster, screw it back in, use the 14. You'll hear it click. It's fine, just keep doing it until you can't do it anymore, and it's on there. So now that's it. That's how you assemble a rear. This is how you assemble a rear coilover. Alright, so for the front, you basically do the same thing. So we're gonna start off by taking the top dampening knob off. Now you put the dust boot. This dust, for the fronts, like I said before, you won't have to cut the dust boots. You just put them on. That's on. You take the thicker spacer, put it in, drop it in. Take your spring. For the front, remember we're using the 31s. You'll see the number on the spring. You have your spring in. You take your top hat. Now these top hats are all the same, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. All the top hats are the same. What was I? Okay. So here's your spring. Drop it in, and you take another one of the top spacers with the ridge. Now the top spacer ridges, they're all the same as well, so you can just pop them in. You should be good. Take your lock nut, lock it in place. Make sure it's nice and tight. Alright, it's good. And you're done. That is how you assemble a rear. No, this is the front. That's how you assemble the front Öhlins coilover. And now we have assembled both of our coilovers. So now we have all four assembled and they're ready to be put on the vehicle. Okay, one last thing I want to say. What I didn't show you on camera is that I adjusted the preload on these springs. And you can do that by adjusting this collar here. This you tighten, you can tighten it or loosen it, and then the one right underneath is the one that locks it in place. And then this one is for adjusting the ride height. So I didn't mess too much with the preload on these springs. So what I did is I consulted the front and rear assembly instructions, and on the back you can see they give specifications, preload It's the same for both front and rear. It says put 2 millimeters of preload. The best way to do this is by having a caliper. I use a ruler with a centimeter reader, and I converted the millimeters to centimeters to make sure there were 2 millimeters of preload. So I will post these up on a link in the description of the video, and if you don't have this information, these are specifically for the Öhlins, so you might want to research if you're using something other than Öhlins. But the standard length of the spring for both the front and rear is 200 millimeters, and right here it says from the top of the spring to the bottom you should have it 98, so that's 2 millimeters of preload. That's what they recommend from the factory, so that's what I'm putting. I'm not messing with it. If you want to mess with it, go right ahead, but I recommend, these are your first set of coilovers, I recommend just going with the factory specifications. So the way you measure it is where this rubber gasket on the top hat meets the spring. That's where you want to start your measurement. From there all the way to where the bottom of the spring meets the collar. So you want to measure from top to bottom, or bottom top, whichever, but you want to make sure that it reads 198 millimeters. Use a caliper if you have it. If you have a ruler, then that's going to be 19.8 centimeters from top to bottom, so you want to measure that there, and then you can adjust the ride height however which way you see fit. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. As you can see here, I'm just about finished editing it. I realized that it was coming out too long, so instead of doing 2 parts, it's going to be separated into 3 parts. So this first part is just assembling the coils. Second part is going to be actually putting them on the car, and the third part is going to be how to adjust the ride height. So that's it for the first part. Thank you for watching. You'll see videos here for other videos, and I'll try to get part 2 out as fast as I can. And thank you guys.